Welcome, welcome. New day, new painting, and I'm excited about this one. I'm actually really excited about the image that I'm going to paint from. I think it's going to work perfectly with the new palette and color chart that we did. So let's look at it. Okay, so this is the image I chose. This is from a Graphit Studio, Grafit Studio reference image pack, and it's 1200 plus mystical mermaid images. I'll have to put the link in the description below so you can check it out. I utilize Graphit Studio, Obscura 29, Zatinezilla, a lot of these wonderful photographers that are on ArtStation. Although I don't go through ArtStation, I purchase directly from them, so I'll put that link in the description below. Just beautiful imagery, and this is one that I find really interesting. It's actually in a folder called Rusalka, Rusalka. What is that? What is that thing? And if you look up Google about the mythology of Rusalka, which is a Slavic mythology, it's a female entity often described as a water nymph or spirit. These beings are commonly associated with rivers, lakes, and other bodies of water, and are frequently depicted as beautiful, alluring young women with long hair. While some stories portray them as benevolent protectors of nature, particularly water resources, others depict them as dangerous and vengeful creatures who lure men to their deaths. And I like this mythology because there's a song by the Decemberists called Rusalka that I really, really like. I love the Decemberists. They're fantastic. Okay, but what I'm really excited about, because I picked up a bunch of these images of this wonderful model posing in a lake. I'm thinking, that's got to be cold. Maybe it's not. Maybe it was warm and fantastic. I have no idea. I picked a bunch of images, but I like this one a lot because her hair, their hair, has got that transparent red iron oxide kind of look. It's a bit dark in the shadows, but then the rest of the image, blue. Very, very blue. And I'm excited about all of that blue. And especially up here, those little greens, we can get that with this palette. We can get all of this with this palette. I'm interested in the blues because I have the Phthalo Blue. I want to work with it. I really want to kind of push that as far as I can. And when I look at the color chart that we made for Phthalo Blue, transparent red iron oxide, these are all the colors that we have. It's still a little bit wet, so I have to be careful with it here. And what I really, really, really want to challenge myself to do is find the grayness in that blue. Find the intensities that I need, like this crazy intense color here, but then work within, see this margin here that I created? This transition, like this is, I think, as gray as I can get on this palette, which it goes a little bit towards green, like kind of a warmish green. Over here is very similar too, but I like this margin that I created. It's got a little bit more blue in it. Looks fantastic. We can get those reds, the dark reds in their hair, the greens, the yellows. I think everything can be achieved with this, but I have to be very subtle with it. I have to really find those specific mixtures, not to match this exactly, because these colors are on... If I wanted to match those colors exactly, I would probably use Phthalo Blue or an ultramarine blue with an alizarin color, because they go a little bit towards purple. When they go into the shadow, when they get darker, they go a bit towards purple. I can't really get purples with this palette because when I mix these two together, I get green of all colors. You're thinking, I'm thinking, why green? Why green? I need to do some research on why that goes to green. I'm pretty sure it's because phthalo is more of a, leans toward like a yellowish kind of blue, goes towards green first, maybe a warm blue. I'm not certain on that one. And the same thing with the transparent red iron oxide. little bit towards yellow. So you have yellow within these pigments. You mix them together, add a little white, you get green from them. That's my guess. I'll have to do some research on that. Okay, I'm excited about this painting, but the first stage, oh, and I left it. The first stage is the drawing stage, and I have the super expensive, crazy, best pencil you can ever buy. No, it's super cheap. You can get this at a grocery store or any place. Super cheap 2B pencil that you could pick up anywhere. There you go. Going crazy on this one, right? With all of my super expensive materials. Anyway, let's get started on this. Sit back, relax, because I'm going to fast forward this, or time lapse this drawing. And hopefully I can get to some painting today. Let's see how much time I have. Okay, see you in a bit. Oh my goodness, man, oh man. I've been having quite a fight with these colors on this first round for this painting. Has not been easy. And the reason why is because I really, really, really want to get the warmer kind of tones within this, like the fabric on the figure. My cat's being funny. I really want to get these warmer purplish, grayish tones within the dress that's on the figure. And the Phthalo Blue plus the transparent Red Iron Oxide just goes to green, like constantly. Even with the mixtures that got really gray. I mean, this is pretty darn gray. It cuts to a more yellow-ish tone, yellower than things. It's not working for me. I'm just having so much trouble with it. I was thinking, okay, I still want to work with a palette. I still want to challenge myself to try and get these colors to work within the painting. So I was thinking about separation because all of these colors are pretty similar, just very subtle differences. In the background on the image, a bit more green. Then it goes to this kind of grayish blue. Ultramarine blue would probably be perfect for the water back there. And then in the foreground, it's more of a purplish blue. And then in the skin of the figure is more red, close to blue, like white. This is way too warm. I really want that, what I have here, to be closer to what I see in the photo. So because I'm yearning for what is in the photo and I'm unable to achieve it with this limited palette, it's frustrating. It's very difficult. And for the most part, you know, I've used the Zorn palette to paint a beach scene, which has blue waves, and I was okay with making all that gray. But for here, for some reason, it's just challenging me to no end. And I think the biggest reason why is because when I mix these two colors together, Phthalo Blue, transparent Red Iron Oxide, I want to get a gray tone. I want them to cancel each other out. I want to neutralize, but they go to green. And I was thinking, why is the heck is it doing that? Why do I get such green from it? So I did some research on it, and I looked at M Gram. This is the M Gram Phthalo Blue. It's a green shade of Phthalo Blue. To be very specific on it, on the back of the tube, it's PB 15:3. I need glasses. Let me get my glasses. This text is so hard to read. Yeah, PB 15:3. It's a green shade of Phthalo Blue. And that's fine. Okay. A red, like transparent Red Iron Oxide, should cancel that out. If you have a green and you want to neutralize it with a different color, not just using black or white or a gray, you would mix green with red and you'll go right to gray. Okay? Transparent red iron oxide is PR101. That's the pigment used, and that's also from mgram. But when I mix these together, it just goes straight to blue. So, one of the first things that I tried was I added alizarin crimson onto my palette. Alizarin crimson from mgram. And this is PR176 and PR101, which is interesting because PR101 is also used for the transparent red iron oxide. So I'm guessing the PR176 has a lot to do with making this a lot cooler. So I tried that, and yeah, I got closer to those purples, but it wasn't neutralizing the phthalo blue how I liked. And actually, while I'm talking, I want to try that again. Let me clean off a place on my palette. This is when I need a bigger palette. This is only an 8x10 piece of glass. I think at some point I may go to a larger piece of glass. So if I'm going to take the rest of this alizarin crimson, because I know how strong phthalo blue is. And I'm going to add just a bit of phthalo blue. This is going to go really dark to a point where you don't really see the color. And the transparency there that you can see on my palette, because, you know, when I scrape it off, you see some transparent color. It went to just this extreme purple. When I add white to this, it's going to neutralize that purple a little bit. Violet purple. Look at that. Straight purple. Didn't really neutralize it that much, just went straight to purple. Okay, cool. And let me go more white to really get this, to see it better. And even if I add a bit more alizarin crimson to this, just to see what it does, to get a mixture that's closer to just alizarin, we'll see what happens. But I'm almost certain that it's not going to be anywhere near a gray color. No, we just go back right up to alizarin. So this is kind of a bounce between blue and alizarin, and a violet in between there, a purple in between. Not what I want for this painting. It's just not working for me. Then, what I did after that, that's when I went online. I looked at mgram and I saw that the phthalo blue was of the green shade. I even looked on artistpigments.org, which is a fantastic website for getting like a deeper understanding of color and the exact pigments that are used. They even show the colors on a Munsell color wheel or different color wheels, which is really nice to understand that. As soon as I put this cadmium red light, okay, and it's by Winton, so less pigment in there, and it has, gotta get my glasses again, I believe this, yeah, PR108, okay, which is a yellowish red, so a little bit closer to orange, which is still on the same line. On when you look at a Munsell color wheel, the transparent red iron oxide still falls within that same kind of spoke of the wheel. This is just closer to neutral. It's a darker color, but you would think that it would take phthalo blue to gray, but it doesn't. Even though it's in the same spoke of the wheel or very close to it on the Munsell color wheel, It does not take, or the transparent red iron oxide does not take phthalo blue closer to gray. But as soon as I add this cadmium red light from Winton in here, I get wonderful gray tones. This goes to gray very, I wouldn't say very quickly, but very nicely. And I started adding that everywhere within the figure here, and I can get kind of closer to purplish type tones within there, violet type tones. I can add a bit more red if I wanted to kind of push that a bit more if I wanted. Let's see. Put that on the canvas. I want to get a brush that isn't contaminated with too much phthalo blue. Maybe a little bit more white. So especially here within the fabric on the figure, you can see how much closer that is to the photo. Warms it up, gets a little bit closer to those violets that I was wanting. More like a grayish violet. But really grays that down nicely. I think it is the antithesis of phthalo blue more than transparent red iron oxide is. Definitely. I feel like if I would have made a color chart that kept the cadmium red light within the Zorn palette, and I replaced ivory black with phthalo blue, that I would be able to achieve more possibilities, or at least grayer possibilities, which I want in a lot of ways. So I think I'm going to continue on. Well, I'm definitely going to continue on with this painting. I'm not going to stop doing this painting. But what I will do is I'm going to probably remove transparent red iron oxide and replace it with cadmium red light for the next sessions of this. And I don't like doing that because I wanted to stick with this palette. I wanted to fight it out, but I'm getting my butt kicked. I can't say it any other way. It's just not working for me. I like this image too much to get away from it. I want to achieve those those, it is a riddle, those really subtle tones, subtle colors that are up here within the skin of the figure. And in order for me to do that, I need that cadmium red light. I even like the interplay between the blue and the cadmium red light. If I bring the blue, let's say in some highlight areas here on the skin, and then, close to it, gray, the areas that are in gray, bring that down with the cadmium red. Just these mixtures are so subtle, just tremendously subtle. Lots of white everywhere, lots of titanium white. I think I could go even lighter. And honestly, as I look at this, I keep looking to my right, your left, because I have this all synced up in OBS, and I have my screen, my monitor over that way. And I'm able to get away from the painting by looking at it on a monitor that's probably about 5 or 10 feet away from me. 5 or 6 feet, not 10 feet. Really nice way of stepping back away from the painting without moving. But I think these tones here, these colors, is what I need. Man, so subtle. I'm gonna think that's it. And as you can tell, I'm just destroying the drawing on this. That's actually really nice. The alizarin crimson with phthalo blue, a little bit of white, but more phthalo blue than the alizarin. And I get blues that are what I think are closer to like an ultramarine color. Which, now that I'm looking at it, could be better for this painting. I don't know. I don't know. This is definitely a struggle. Definitely a struggle. I want to get into some dark tones here, some darker values for this color mixture and see what I get. Now, you may be thinking as you're watching this, as I'm taking forever, and you hopefully everybody hasn't fast forwarded through it. Maybe you have, and that's okay. But you're probably thinking, Chris, why don't you just not do a limited palette and just put a whole bunch of colors on your palette so you can reach whatever the heck you want? Well, that would be something I could do. Yes, you're right on that. If you said that, you're definitely right. That is a possibility. But not only would it not be as fun, I know, I think this is fun. Okay, being weird. Not only would that not be as fun, but I wouldn't learn near as much. Through these limitations is where you're going to be challenged, where we are going to be challenged, where we're going to have to utilize a majority of our knowledge of paint and mixtures, paint application, to find solutions. And of course, when, it's kicking your butt so hard, like I'm having trouble right now with this, you can add more onto it, right? You can add an extra color, change out colors if it's not working, and then move in whatever direction you want to. But it's through the challenges that you learn the most. It's through this kind of self-imposed difficulty that I know more and more about color. Too often we want convenience, we want ease, we want to add those convenience colors to our palette so that everything becomes a little bit easier. And we get a bit lazy. And with that, it turns into, how can I copy the image exactly? Which isn't bad. I mean, if you want to do that, that's perfectly fine. But to me, it seems like this is a beautiful image. It's a fantastic image. On its own, it's wonderful. Print it out, put it on a poster, be done with it, okay? I'm painting it because I want to take the essence of it and make more from it. I want it to be more than what it is. And through painting, we can do that. Through painting, we can take something that's beautiful and then take it to another level as well. And if I had every color on the planet, I could really mix that and I could be super detailed or whatever. And, maybe it would look exactly like the image and I would feel great about it and that would be good because that's still challenging as it is. But how can I take it to a more painterly approach? How can I limit myself in certain ways, or limit ourselves in certain ways, so we're forced to think more about the painting and our palette and not the map that we constantly work from that tells us where to go? Because this is where art lies. This is where creativity lies. With the image, that's where... Oh, I gotta unlock this thing. With the image, this is something that can guide us, specifically if we want, to the nth degree, or just guide us to like an impetus for something more, something different, something that is a combination of that and myself, and then it goes on to a canvas. Yeah, so that's what I want. This is why I do this. So I still haven't decided, but I think the next session, the palette's going to be a bit different. I'm going to stick with the Phthalo Blue. Definitely going to stick with the Phthalo Blue. But I'm pretty sure either the Alizarin Crimson or the Cadmium Red Light is going to be introduced. I'll have to give some thought about it. Definitely have to give some thought about it. Because I still want to challenge myself. But I think I know the combination of Phthalo Blue, Transparent Red Iron Oxide is just, it's well beyond me. I can't make those work with this painting. Unless I just do it completely different, you know, an all green painting. And that's what it's turning out to be, is like you mix those two things together and you just get greens, you know, more subdued greens, but that's it. I mean, even looking at the color chart, and yeah, I'm going on this for a while. Even looking at the color chart, we go red, and then this kind of, I do like these colors, but these are not working for the painting. I like these colors over here, but it's not really working for the painting. Those go to green. But blue, teal, green. That's what you get. And then like these peaches. So you got a peach section. Something in between that's closer to, I don't know what you would call that. More like a raw umber, probably. And then the rest of it is hyper blue and greens and teals, and that's it. It's kind of like that's all this can work with. That's the full possibility of it. And every limited palette's going to be like that. But there's something about the harmony within the Zorn color chart that makes it easier for me to understand how to take those limitations and make something like this. Like let's look at the Zorn color chart. Let's say I chose this, like just doing straight Zorn. I would be able to, you know, get these kind of grayish blues, some of the purples, like this would be the skin tones right around in here, maybe there, in these areas. The dress would go all to gray. The background, I would bring in some greens, like grayish greens up in here. That may or may not work. The hair would be here. I think you would have a possibility of getting there. Even my previous color chart where I replaced the cadmium red light with burnt sienna and the ivory black with Payne's gray, I could see, you know, similar things happening. Yeah. It's just that intensity, that tremendous intensity of the phthalo blue and the inability of the one color that I thought would neutralize it, the inability of that actually happening, right? I even tried ivory black here. I brought ivory black in to neutralize. It went warm, straight to gray though. It didn't have, you know, more possibilities of those purples. Okay, I have wasted your time enough. I was just thinking about this and dealing with it. you can see, at least, you know, if you made it this far, you can see how this can be really interesting and challenging, force you to think about colors, force you to think about something more than just copying from the image. Yeah, and maybe you want to try something like this. I don't know. Or maybe you're like, I'm going to avoid that altogether and just work with a split primary palette with 16 colors on there and just go for it. Actually, it wouldn't be 16 colors. 2 red, 2, 4, 6. 2 red, 2 yellow, 2 blue. That's 6, plus a white and an earth tone. 8 colors. There you go. Double the palette, and you would get everything you wanted. You get every color on the planet. You can do that. Okay. This is going to dry overnight. Not fully, and then I'll start it again tomorrow. Sorry for all the rambling and the ranting. Thank you so much for watching my videos. If you want to see more of my artwork, go to my website, linked in the description below, chrisbevan.com. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.